what is service excellence? I mean, I always maintain that, in service, there's no rocket science. A lot of people mystify service and service excellence and delighting the customer and going that extra mile, creating a wow at every moment of truth. Now, we'll go through all that in a presentation where I work out a little service blueprint for all of us. But what is service? I'd like some of us to participate. In my presentations, it's always nice if we have a two-way street than a one-way street. That way I know that everyone is listening to me. Can I hear what you think is service? What is service? What is service excellence? Anybody, please feel free to even give one word to service excellence or two words, whatever you all feel.
Customer satisfaction.
Customer satisfaction, right? Who else?
Adhere to the needs of the customer.
Adhere to the needs of the customer. Service excellence, right? What else?
Service is the heart. It has to come from your heart.
It has to come from the heart. Excellent. What else?
Service is intelligent.
Service?
Intelligent.
Intelligent. Okay. All right.
Commitment.
Commitment. Excellent. Service is actually meeting customer expectations, customer requirements.
Undertake an thankless job.
I beg your pardon?
To undertake a thankless job.
Well said, well said. Somebody, I was reading one little joke, about this profession, and we in a hotel, they said, we are very proud because we only employ men. So I said, but why in a hotel you employ men? He said, they are so used to taking orders. Well said. So you were saying.
I was saying, in service excellence, an act of yours, an individual's act, which will leave a particular experience behind to the customer, an unforgettable experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, something which leaves a very long-lasting the customer's heart or a place in the customer's mind or awakens the five senses. Many times, you enter a room and it's a beautifully well-lit room. It awakens one sense. If there is a nice aroma, fragrance, it awakens another sense. If there is understated elegance and not so noisy and not so blatant on the face, it awakens another sense. So service excellence has already begun without the human interface. And then if you put the human interface in it, you put the human touch in it, it kind of completes the entire journey of service excellence. So I basically will talk today a little bit about service excellence. But before that, we have to, in anything we do, we have to create a listening culture. Otherwise, what happens? The whole thing gets changed to what I'm saying, and if you're not listening, then it's a little different situation. You know the difference between listening and hearing? Or are they the same? Can you tell me? Difference between listening and hearing? Sorry?
Hearing you require only ears.
Listening is attentive.
Hearing is completely doing something that
Absolutely. You come back home after a hard day's work and you put on music, start making your tea. Are you listening or hearing? Hearing. Right? After my talk, I'll ask you if you were listening or hearing. She rightly said, multitasking, somebody sending messages from below, etc. That's why it's always better to keep mobile phones outside. But I'll tell you a small story, which again happened in a remote city in Brazil. There was this petrol pump, and this car drives up, and this driver tells the petrol pump attendant, he said, please fill up my car with gas. So he takes the keys and says, sure. Now when he is going, he sees in the back seat there are two very pretty handsome penguins. So he says, mister, who are they? So the owner of the car says, they're penguins. He said, no, but you please take them to the zoo. Quite angry, the pump attendant. So he said, okay. So he fills up the car with gas and he's done the transaction. Before he gives him the key, he says, please remember, I've told you to take them to the zoo. He said, yes, I'll go right. After 1 week, same car, same driver comes, same pump attendant. And again, Same thing, he says, fill up the car with gas. So this time the car, the hood is off, it's convertible. So he says, please fill it. So pump attendant, to his dismay, same two penguins sitting at the back nicely, and this time with hats and goggles. So he gets very upset. He says, I'm sorry, I'll not do business with you. There is no question. I told you last time, you never listened. So this owner says, what is your problem? What didn't I listen? He says, I told you, you take them to the zoo. This guy gets upset. He says, yeah, listen, I took them to the zoo, but today it's so bright and sunny, I'm taking them to the beach. So sometimes, what happens? If you don't listen carefully, you miss the total point. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you, before I start this presentation, I actually created a word called PECAT. P-E-K-A-T. That told me, PECAT actually guides me towards the journey of service excellence. P for PECAT, P is process excellence. You can't have service excellence if your processes are not excellent. Because most of the time, when you shoot the person, you actually need to shoot the process. So many times you shoot individuals, but forget that the individual can get replaced, but if the process is not fixed, there's going to be no excellence, because the same second guy will make the same mistake. So process excellence is a very important part of service excellence. Don't think that it is the first, so it must be the most important. No, I think there are even more important. I put P in the first because you could make the word into some kind of a word. Others are too funny. So PECAT, process excellence. Then there is E. What do you think is E? What part of service excellence is E, and it's a very important part? Execution.
Excellent.
Sorry? Enthusiasm. All right. It's something which is, if it's not there, you can't have 100% service excellence. It's something to do with people, with teams. Some more. Okay, it's called empowerment. If people are not empowered, you cannot get service excellence. So, without empowerment, you will not be able to get service excellence. Many times there are, like the parrot, bosses who say, hey, why do you first check with me. Don't do this till I. Now what happens is, we're in the business of response and service. Customer wants things today and now. Earlier he wanted it maybe today, but today he wants it now. Now you can't tell him, no sir, I'll check. I'll come back to you. You have to give very instant if you want to excel, as long as it is not illegal or immoral. I will do anything and everything for my customer, as long as it is not illegal or immoral. Now once you have this as a position guideline, then whether it is doorman or chairman, everyone follows the same. So the point I'm saying is empowerment is very important. Then K. Knowledge. Very good. Brilliant. Brilliant. So knowledge. See, service excellence cannot happen without knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge, no matter how excellent you are, you will not feel confident. You will have a problem with confidence. If you are not confident, you will try to hide behind some table or podium, etc., because you don't know your job. So knowledge is very key. So you have to have the will and skill. So knowledge, P-E-K-A. A is the most important. Attitude. Earlier they used to say hotels is location. Today is attitude. In hotels also, when we hire 60% for attitude. So the first time when we see somebody, we just want to know that is the attitude right. Because you can have a high skilled guy, but his will is low. Doesn't work for us. It will spoil the entire basket. So attitude is very key, and you will see in my presentation. And what is the next one? T. T is something which is ever changing. It's like change. It's constant. Sorry. Technology. See, without technology, now technology must be actually enhancing the service excellence. It should not make people lose the human touch. Many times I say that hotels, we use certain technology which is taking the customer away from the people. And our business is all about this magic at the last few steps or a wow at every moment of truth. So I see hotels, they say there is, in your floor there is an ice machine. In your floor there is a box where you can put your coin in and you get your Coca-Cola. But somewhere it takes away the human touch. Now yes, putting a mini bar in a room is a good thing because in the privacy of his room, he or she can have a quick drink, and rather than keep waiting and saying, oh, now this didn't come and that didn't come. That is good technology. Like we have now iPads, which from his room he can control his curtains, he can open his door, he can actually see on the camera who's there, he can communicate. Because today time is money, nobody has time. Now, one touch he can control the whole room. The ambient temperature, the flow of the air, everything gets controlled by the iPad. You can order your room service, you can check out your bill. Now that's technology helping you speed up your express. Because the greatest luxury today is time. So PEKT, very quickly, let's go. What is P? Process excellence. E, very important. K, it's not the complete thing. I just keep this so that it kind of helps me in trying to ensure that I can make a blueprint for service excellence. Introduction to service. The flow line is then what is service, and then creating a service excellence blueprint, a roadmap for service excellence. So essentially, not too far away, Jan Carlson turned around SAS from an $8 million loss to a gross profit of $71 million, little over a year. Sam Walton, you'll all know these names, right? Parlayed a single store into Walmart, the largest retailer in the world. So, Walmart is the first ever service company to rise to the top of the Fortune 500 list. McDonald's revolutionized the fast food industry and today has more employees than US Steel. A hard realization that golden arches, not blast furnaces, symbolize the American economy. Earlier it was all manufacturing. There was no service. Have you heard the famous Henry Ford who said for his Ford car manufacturing, he said, give me any color as long as it is black. There was no choice. Customer said, I need a car, what color can I ask for? He said, any color as long as it's black. But that time you dictated. There was no service. It was, this is my way or the highway. So this is just showing you how American economy was moving from manufacturing from tangible to the intangible, to soft, from hard to soft. So such revolutions are not coincidences. They are the end result of a series of contributions at several stages, all of which have one thing in common, and that is the customer. Right? One man, the customer. Earlier, the customer was somebody who came to get something which we delivered to perfection. But today the customer is almost God. He is like revered because not only we are tailor-making everything to his or her needs, but he's a very scarce commodity because there's so much of supply and he has big choice. So the commencement of any activity must ask one fundamental question, and that is, will it create or retain a customer? So any activity, if it doesn't create or retain a customer, is an NVA, non-value added, right? So the customer is no longer a faceless abstract entity or mass statistic. He is king, god, dictator, yet we continue to try to just satisfy, rather than somebody says customer satisfaction. That's gone. Customer satisfaction today is nothing. You're not going to get there if you don't surpass his or her expectations. So this is just something that tells you that how the entire soft force, how strong the consumer is today, that they were able to force Coca-Cola to reverse its decision to do away with classic Coke. So moving from monologue to dialogue, any color as long as it's black was stage 1. Stage 2 was tell us what color you want. And now stage 3, let's figure out together whether and how color matters to your larger goal. When we were in ITC Gardenia and we were building this beautiful garden hotel, and nature was the prime objective. You know, where we said it was back to nature, forward to green. And somebody came up with the idea and said, sir, why don't we do special colors in all your cars, which are colors of the rainbow. So, you know, you had all the colors there, and they were ready to, Honda was ready to paint it for us in the right way so that they look like that. So that's the thing, you know, it's become, let's figure it out together. A key to customer satisfaction is, of course, service. In a world of limited opportunities where products reach commodity status, the generic product is identical. It is the offered product that is different, differentiated through service. You know, bricks and mortar never make a hotel. What makes the hotel is the service. You know, you can have the best chandelier, the best marble, the best lighting, the best, you know, you can put gold-plated, you know, amenities in the toilets. Doesn't work. What works is the service. So essentially, this is what it is. So what is service? Shoe Stack separates goods from services by placing all products on a continuum from almost total good, which is say like table salt, to almost total service, which is teaching. You know, so this is the continuum. So if you can see here, right from the complete tangible dominant, teaching is in the complete intangible dominant. And this essentially is how, ladies and gentlemen, this entire continuum has moved over the years. So this is basically showing you that how the whole world has moved more from tangible to an intangible dominant. And in the airline industry, fast food outlets are something which is somewhere in the middle. And I think what is really happening today is that the services has far overtaken the tangible offering. Clark referred to service industry as the residue. He said any organization does not fit into any of the following, it can be called service. However, if you look at, well, this just shows you how the services have overtaken the manufacturing. Now, the new expectations for serving customers, the way we treated customers in the 70s and 80s, awful, bordering on criminal. Delivering and salespeople didn't show up when they said they would. Americans waited hours in checkout lines while other registers were closed. Clerks who could have opened those registers talked on the phone to their friends. You know, ladies and gentlemen, it is unbelievable, but I must tell you, all of you have been to the supermarket, right? Now, when you go to a supermarket, what do? What do you do first thing as you enter a supermarket? You collect a trolley or a basket, right? And you go and pick up things from the whatever you want, right? Now, when you finish, where do you go? Sorry? Billing card. Who's there in the billing card? Is there only the cashier? Some helper is there, right? What does the helper do? He puts things in the bag. So there was this beautiful supermarket in America, and there were two cashier counters, and both had one. Let's not call him a helper, call him a bagger. One bagger and two baggers. Now, one cashier counter was a long queue, and one cashier counter was only 2 or 3 people. So, you know, somewhere they couldn't figure it out. So they said something is wrong, and then they put it down towards the interviewing the bagger. So the first bagger they interviewed was a man who had a very small cashier counter, which was only 2 people, 2 customers, and the other one had about 40. They said, who are you? He said, I'm a bagger. So he said, what do you do? So he said, I put whatever items come, I put them in a bag. Fine, that's a great role to play. But then they said, let us see, what does he do? So when this lady had actually picked up various items, she had picked up tomatoes, eggs, bacon spray, she had picked up, you know, those big washing powders and detergents, and she had also picked up chicken and mutton. Now she gave her items to counter. Now this bagger took the tomato, he put it in the bag, took the egg and put it over the tomato, and then he put the bacon spray on top, and then he put the, the big, tide or something on top of it, and the chicken went there, and then there was some fillet, or they put that, and it sent it home. Now what happened when that lady went home? Everything was disastrous. There was no dinner because the whole eggs were crushed, tomato was squashed, the smell of the bacon spray had gone to the chicken, and a disaster. So then they said, let's see what's happening in the second counter. And they said that this guy, what he did is, same items. He first took the chicken and the mutton, he put it into one bag. Then he took the detergents and all that which was there, and it was quite heavy. So he took one bag and he put another bag inside. Why did he do that? So that it can become a little more firm. So he put all those separately. And then he used anything to do with, say, the eggs and the tomato, etc., he put separately. So beautifully, there were 3-4 bags, and the customer left very, very happy. So they asked the second chap, he says, who are you? He says, I'm a bagger. So what do you do? He says, sir, me, I'm the person who ensures that whatever is on my shelf is 100% in the same quality and condition when it reaches your shelf at home. Now, what they did is they called the first guy the single bagger, and they called the second guy a double bagger. Everybody has to ask themselves the question, are they single baggers or double baggers? At the end of the day, it's the same shop, the same supermarket, the same cashiers. Cashier is very efficient. But one chap has 2 people, one chap has a line of 40. All because of the double bag. In a hotel, they asked in America, 2 bellboys. Bellboys are people who lift baggage. So they asked the bellboy. He said, who are you? He said, I'm a bellboy. He said, what do you do? I lift baggage. They asked another chap. He said, who are you? He said, I'm a bellboy. He said, what do you do? He said, me, I'm the true host of this beautiful home. He said, what do you mean? I don't understand. What does that have to do with lifting baggage? He said, no, when you call people for dinner at home, who is the first person to meet the guest at the door? Of course, the host or the hostess. So he says, who's the last person who accompanies the guest after the dinner and the nice food and everything? Who leaves and waves the guest goodbye when your guests leave home to the car? He said, of course, me, my home, I do the same thing. As a bellboy, I am the first person to greet the guest, and I'm the last person to say the goodbye. So he says, I'm a host. Now, the bag, etc., is all incidental. He looks at his role as a host. The other chap looks at his role as that myopic frog in the well approach where he says, I lift baggage. Which is not wrong, but that is what the single bagger would say, and the double bagger would say. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think the most important thing is you have to keep creating your own roles for yourself. Because at the end of the day, that is what is the signature service or the real tipping point for the customer to decide where he or she needs to go. So this is exactly what the single bagger does, where there are so many things which create what we call GUS, giving undesirable service.